Councilmember Franklin, can you hear us okay?
Oh, I can hear you great. Thank you.
Oh, good. And we can hear you. So isn't that wonderful? All right. Welcome everyone to the work session for the September 19th Webster Grove City Council meeting. We are happy to have you with us. We're going to do some interesting things tonight during the work session. So that's kind of exciting. We'll start as we usually do with board and commission interviews. And Lindsay Thomas, come on down. Don't be nervous.
I'm going to ask a lot of questions.
So come on up to the microphone.
Okay.
And so this is a pretty simple project. You're gonna have to pull it down because you're gonna really have to speak into it. So it's recorded.
Mary, are you going to swear her in?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I didn't bring my Bible.
Yeah. Wow. This is gonna be a rowdy group tonight, I'm afraid.
I'm nervous. I feel like I'm at the spelling bee.
Well, you do not need to be nervous. All we would like to hear from you is what you think you might bring to this commission, because it's the Business Development Commission, right?
Yes.
That you are, and you're a business owner or representing a business owner.
Mm-hmm.
So what?
Basically a business owner.
Yeah. It feels like it, I'm sure. What you would bring to the commission and why you'd like to serve. And then we'll see if anybody has questions for you.
Okay. I wrote it down.
There you go.
So nervous.
Just take a deep breath. Everything will be fine.
Okay. I used to be a yoga teacher, so everyone just take a deep breath. Okay. So I would like to provide access to opportunities available through City Hall to all the business owners in town, and inspire the next generation of business owners to thrive in Webster. And I would also like to just be a friendly face to support the local business owners' dreams, ideas, and aspirations here in Webster. Okay.
Well prepared. Yeah.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your role at Webster Window and Door? And
will you move your microphone
so
over?
I call myself operations manager, but I literally do everything. So my dad's the owner. We've been there for about 11 or 12 years. I've been there about 10 and a half years. I do all the accounting, which is fun, and QuickBooks. What else do I do? Of course, I can't think of it right now. Just project management. We're obviously a window and door company, so that's dealing with designers and architects and construction companies and a lot of homeowners in Webster and all the surrounding areas. So I feel like I know a wide range of, people, and I have a good sense of, I have a good way of like putting myself in someone else's shoes and kind of understanding their perspective and listening and, trying to figure out solutions to a lot of issues all day long. So, yeah. Yes.
All right. Any other questions? All right. See, you can breathe more deeply now.
That's it. Okay.
That's it.
I have goals and actions that I want.
Okay. Oh, well, we can keep you up here.
Okay.
If you have them and you'd like to share them, please go right ahead.
Sure. These are my ideas.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to connect with all the business owners in Webster, just face to face, introducing myself and just becoming a point of contact, basically. I'd like to improve the pedestrian accessibility in all the business corridors. I'd like to have a Webster Groves alumni business leaders luncheon, have a career fair at the high school with all the local business leaders, just kind of like encourage the people of Webster to invest in their own community instead of like wanting to leave their community. There are so many opportunities here. And this has developed into such a cool city since, I've been in high school. It wasn't like as fun and cool and hip as it is now. So I want to like keep that going and, keep the next generation interested. So yeah, that's just some of them.
That's great. Thank you
Say-
very much.
I'll keep some secrets for next time.
Who
Thank you.
knows? We might steal them all.
Okay. Yeah, don't
Right,
take
thank
my
you.
ideas.
Thank you very much, Lindsay.
Thank you.
Right, we also have an interview for the Historic Preservation Commission. Jean Spur is with us. Hi, Jean.
Hi.
Again, please just share us why you'd like to be on the commission and what you might bring to it.
What? Bless you. He sneezed at your, sure what I could, your last sentence I didn't hear.
Just why you want to be on the commission, what you think you might bring to it.
Okay, the bring to. Well, I've been here since I got out of college. I've lived here since 1972. Live in an 1890 house, which I lived for probably 42 years. I've been really active with the Webster Historical Society. Of course, with all the houses disappearing, I feel really bad about. It just can't break your heart. A strong background in architecture. My children are architects. Their father's an architect. I was sort of the support system, but so there's just so much to be done, and when you see things vanishing, it's just really hard. And I'm not exactly sure what I do, but I'd certainly be out there. Kind of when the kids were little, and I would start to see these houses going down, I thought, didn't have such lofty things like I was going to save the house, but I would think I'd like to start like a garden thing, that when you would see them tearing down houses, that I could think, oh, I'd like those plants, everything that's going down. And I like to start a thing where we would go dig up the gardens and move them on. I'm over on Sunnyside and Old Orchard, and I thought there's a lot more than saving the gardens going on here. And so with all my work with the Historical Society, which has been I kind of just retired from my other job and started working about when COVID hit, but we've kind of carried on with the Historical Society. And we just reached some lofty goals this week. So if nobody's doing anything next Thursday, come on over. We'd love to see you. If I get through that, but yeah, it's such a big field. And then when my kids are so funny, they're going, "Oh my God, you have an interview. Have you ever had an interview?" And Julie's like, "Shouldn't I go with you?" I was like,
"You can tell them you're doing just fine on your own."
And I said, "Well, I don't think I've had an interview for 30 years. I was just saying, people would always call me and say, "Well, we got this open. You want to come over?" I thought, I really never had an interview. It was just, and when I was leaving, it was time to leave. But just seeing everything at the Historical Society and what we're doing and what's out there, it's just a bottomless pit trying to keep all this stuff together. But that's it. I didn't mean to put the commercial in for coming over Thursday night.
No, that's all right. That's great.
You can tour the house, and we're having, wine and cheese reception afterwards. And
5:30 is the start time. Is that right?
5:30, I think, to 7:30.
Okay.
So,
any questions here for Jean?
Nope.
Jean, I just will say one thing. I'm glad that you are interested in HPC along with the Historical Society. One of the things I know since I was liaison to HPC several years ago, we've been trying to do is build that relationship a little bit more.
Yeah, there's
so it would be great to have someone active in both realms.
Yeah,
So
Sue
thank you.
Eggerstall, and I have a lot of people there, Paula and Anne, and who work over there, and they're like, "Oh, good, go do that." So I had a lot of encouragement. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, great. Thank you very much. All right. I think that's it for interviews. Am I right about that? Okay. So we are going to move on and review the regular agenda. Is there, by the way, you all are welcome to stay if you've interviewed. It won't hurt our feelings if you decide that you want to do something else with your evening. Although you might want to stay, and the work session, as I said, is interesting tonight. Is there anyone who wants to review anything under on the regular agenda? I'm going to take that as a no. Okay, then. So we will start with updates. Sarah, how about if you start this time?
I don't have any today.
Ooh, all right, then. Mr. Smith?
Yes, I am next. Huh? No, I have no updates from any of the commissions, but do want to report that we went to the annual meeting of the
Missouri Municipal League.
Yeah, and it was very informative. I sat in on a couple of the sessions that we had. One was ethics, so I learned a lot in that. Was it new to you? There was and it's just-
On you, Neil, you're not helping that, by the way, just so you know.
Oh, they had several good opportunities for sessions. But I think the most thing I enjoyed, I was able to see a lot of the local representatives. There, Ed from Rock Hill was there, and people from North Counties. Saw a lot of them up there. So we were able to sit down and chit chat about what's going on in their communities, and got a lot of good information. So I caught myself saying a couple of them, "Well, why do you want to do that?" You know, but it was very enlightening to talk to them and share ideas. So.
Okay.
Yes, Sustainability Commission met last night, and this week is the Eco-Ed series talk on Thursday, the 21st, at Webster University Browning Hall. Eric Hayes will be presenting The Power of Kids.
There you go.
Anyway, Eric Hayes, who's a teacher at Hickson Middle School, will be speaking about the power of kids in Hickson Middle School and sustainability. So that's coming up Thursday night. And then they also just talked about, got several projects underway. The next one you'll hear about is Grow Solar. And they have been talking about their micro grants, which we approved earlier this year, and they will be called rebates. And so they're putting together a program about that. And that you all will hear about that in the next couple weeks with some of those parameters that they put together. And that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Emily?
So we had the meeting in Kansas City. I was able to attend as well. It was great. I went to sessions on economic development, Main Street program, broadband, and effective staff and council relations, which is really interesting. And the broadband one was interesting too, not necessarily super applicable to us because we have a lot of coverage in Webster, but interesting to hear, especially kind of in rural Missouri, like plans to get broadband everywhere. So it was a great meeting and really enjoyed the opportunity to go to that. We had both green space and historic preservation met this since our last meeting. I wasn't able to attend the green space meeting because I was in Kansas City, but I did watch the recording, and things coming up with that are the Leave the Leaves program, which is kind of like sibling to the No Mow April. So the idea is to leave some of your leaves, like maybe as mulch on your garden, or, you know, to help that with habitats. And there's more information coming out on that, on how individual residents can participate that. And the Friday page is going to be a great way to learn more about that and other initiatives. October 7th is a planting day for Green Our City, which is a program to plant trees in the right-of-way at home. So homeowners have volunteered and requested trees in their right-of-way. And so the Green Space Committee, and along with Public Works especially, and Parks also will be planting quite a few trees, like 40 trees, something like 40 trees in the city on October 7th. So that's really exciting. And then October 28th will be Make a Difference Day. There'll be more coming out about that. There are at least 3 activities planned now, from trash cleanup to honeysuckle removal, and I'm sure more will come as well. And then one of the topics that was talked about too is the kind of joint commission or joint subcommittee with Green Space and Sustainability met to kind of talk about things. And one of the things that they talked about was the importance of, when we do get our stormwater plan, that we need to, you know, not just have it sit on the shelf, but look at ways to take action on that. So I thought that was a good reminder. Everybody's anxious for that. And then historic preservation, we met as well. And I think we had a couple of guests that came, and one topic that was introduced was the proposal to give a city historic preservation designation to a house on Marvin Court, I believe it's Marvin, but I think it's Marvin Court. And that's a really interesting story, and looking forward to that. The public hearing for that will be at the next HPC, and then it'll, I'm sure, make its way to council. So it's been interesting to learn about that, some more on that coming as well.
Great, thank you. David, do you have anything?
I know that the Traffic Advisory Commission met last night. Unfortunately, I'm traveling this week and I was unable to attend, and I haven't reviewed the recording yet, but my understanding is that we will be seeing a request regarding their parking restrictions or amendments to the parking restrictions to council shortly, which will, based off our rules, require a vote of 2 members of council in order to proceed. But just wanted to give you guys a heads up on that, and I will obviously be able to provide more information once I watch the recording.
Right. Thank you very much, David. Katie, anything for you?
No, thank
Mr. Troublesome City Attorney.
I do. I wanted to say that on Friday night and Saturday night, Karen and I both were out and about in Webster Groves, and the amount of activity, of course, Saturday was the Jazz Festival. The amount of activity that I saw in our various businesses and people who were just out and attending various things was really amazing. But then Saturday, of course, at the Jazz Fest, I witnessed the mayor and her husband handing out information and doing what they could to make that a truly unique event. But then I also saw the assistant city manager emptying trash cans. And I say that only because it really was an all hands on deck thing. And again, it was really, as a member of Webster Groves, as a resident of Webster Groves, that was really touching. And I think it said a lot about what you all do. And so I just wanted to point that out. I think it's important for people to know that.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Marie.
Yes, ma'am. I don't really want to go now after that. It's, incredibly heartfelt, and it was a terrific event. So you all may recall that we ordered an ambulance in December of 2021. Chief Ellis gave me an update on it today. Unfortunately, our delivery date is now anticipated to be April of 2024. So I wanted to share that. We, of course, will continue to provide updates due to supply chain, particularly Chief Ellis could give more detail on this, but a chassis and other types of critical materials. But this is not unique to Webster, as we have been sharing. That is just really the time frame right now for ordering ambulances, fire apparatus. It's a 3 to 4 year process.
You're right. That was a little different.
You want me to go more?
No, I'll see if I can bring us back. I wanted to thank all my colleagues and staff members who participated in the Webster Grove School District Back to School Barbecue. I was very pleased to have so many of us there at the barbecue, which was a great success. They really worked hard to turn it into a big community event with lots of informational booths and tables, as well as just fun of celebrating back to school. So thank you for that. Also thanks Eric especially, but also other staff who worked on getting Jazz Fest together. It looked to me like what pandemic? It was back to what it was seemed to be before that. And every business owner I talked to was very pleased. So thank you all for that. I also did attend the Missouri Municipal League, went to the Missouri Mayor's meeting, where the central topic was, how do we get the state legislature to respect local control in government and taxation? And so that will be the theme of that work, I think, for the upcoming year. Also went to council manager relations panel with Emily and a couple other things, and was pleased to participate in a panel on the appointments project, which is related to what we're going to do tonight, because if we didn't do the appointments project, we wouldn't have been eligible for the National League of Cities grant, which allows us then to give some people a little bit of money to do some good work with their business in our community. So was really pleased to be able to participate with them. I am going to mention one more time, the Historical Society is having an open house, 5:30 to 7:30 on Thursday, to show off their new renovations and then a new exhibit. So it's a drop-in open house if you're available. I'm going to try and peek in at the very beginning, but hopefully some of you can as well. All right. Usually this is the time where someone's remembered something. No? All right. Then we will move right along. We're going to go straight to our topics, and we are pleased to have Lexi O'Brien, who is the chair of the Police Community Engagement Board, with us. She's going to give us an update on the activities. I think you all received today some information about her presentation. And this is, part of our, every board and commission comes annually to tell us what they're working on. and it's been a while. And I know that we had talked, well, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to let you talk. Let me just stop myself.
So this first page is really just, here are the members that we have currently. And if you scroll down, one of the things that we spent some time on this past year is talking about what is our purpose, so that we could articulate it in a very short and understandable way to just someone that we might meet at an event, because the ordinance, as you know, was quite long initially. And so we had a couple of visioning exercises, and I think that was really very productive, and we learned a lot about each other. And as we were coming to conclusion, you all had rewritten the ordinance and had, you know, a nice pithy little statement that we're like, damn, that's pretty close to what we were going to do. So we just voted to adopt that piece of what you have in the ordinance. So we now have that purpose. And so that was an accomplishment, small, but still relevant. The back side, the second page, is a listing of activities. And before I talk about those, and I am not going to read every one of them, you have it in the packet. Obviously, it'll be on the website so y'all can see it. I wanted to put it into some context. So I know that y'all worked on the DEI survey and have gone through various activities yourselves to evaluate what do we do next as a community with that. And so I really appreciate that the council reached out to the PCEB, because we're kind of, there's some overlap with interest in public safety and equity in policing. And so we appreciated that attention. And I hope that we'll have the opportunity to continue to offer service to the community as y'all figure out what happens with that next. I think as I talked to our members, we all saw that, yeah, it does kind of fit under that bigger framework. And, you know, we're ready to continue, you know, just kind of holding down the fort. I don't know what the right words are, but just continuing to do work to serve the community until there's some bigger purpose in mind, and you can tell us sort of where we plug in or not. So to put it under that framework, we are a smaller group now. We've had most of our original members have left. We have had some people that have dropped off, and one person that was the co-chair, I recently learned, moved out of Webster Grove. So although he's still, Centron is still on my list, I imagine, you know, I needed to officially send that in. And so, so it's a small group, and I don't know that we're always going to have a quorum.
Right.
But I don't know how important that is if we aren't doing policy work, if primarily what we've been doing in meetings recently is working as a learning community. We've each chosen a topic related to public safety, and we either do research, we interview people in the community, the schools, the police department, et cetera, or we've brought in a speaker from outside with the intent of sharing that information on our website. And these topics were things that from years back, before I was involved in the PCEB, there had been a community survey. And so there were topics that were raised then. So one of them was the traffic stops report. There had been questions about that. So recently in June, Chief Curtis gave us an update on the latest information. And we asked some questions, and we're going to come and revisit that again and put together something that then we can share on our website. Another example of that is behavioral health response, and how does public safety and how do our police handle situations where there might be some kind of mental health crisis or an issue with drug overdose, and how are other communities dealing with that? And I was aware of what they do in the city. And one of our originals, Katie, who has stepped down from the PCEB, arranged to bring us a speaker. And so that was a really interesting event. And then we learned about sort of what the city, what we do in terms of that. So it's been a little bit of a struggle, I guess, for us to understand, like, well, what do? We don't have people coming to us now to say, hey, I've got this concern, or I'm interested in this. So we've been finding our footing, like, what can we do to serve the community? And part of what we felt we needed to do is learn more ourselves about what are those community concerns, and then also build awareness that the PCEB existed, because if they don't know we exist, they can't reach out to us with questions. So some of the things that we've done in addition to learning and producing information that we've put on our website, thank you, Jenny, is we've now got an interest or a feedback form that if someone doesn't want to email me or the chief, they can anonymously just give some feedback. And our commitment then is, as a board, to talk about that at our next meeting and, discuss it with, whoever needs to be involved. And then we can put a response to, if it were a concern or if it was, whatever, we would be able to share that information on our site. Some of the other things that we've talked about is kicking off some listening sessions, and that is something that we've been remiss. It's been in the ordinance all along. We've never held a town hall. We've all been a little intimidated by, wow, that sounds very formal. And I know, Emerson, you've told us it's not a big deal. But we also thought, if nobody knows we exist, who's even going to come to a town hall? So we thought maybe, I was thinking of where some of our council members have had listening sessions or talk sessions that you're just like at Fredco or some local business. And so we thought that might be a very sort of low barrier way that people in the community could come and meet with a couple of our members. And so that was our plan once the back to school flurry settled, is that we could start doing some of those and hopefully elicit some community response. We've also put together some social media posts that went out on the police department Facebook and Instagram channels, and that was try and get our name out there for people that are already looking for news about the police in Webster Groves, in hopes that when we do have those listening sessions, there will be a few people that show up. Let's see, was there anything else I wanted to say? Not really. I think we're a small group. I feel like we're becoming more productive, and I hope that we'll be able to continue to serve in whatever capacity, things morph into in the future.
Thank you. Emerson, do you want to add anything as liaison before I open it up for questions?
I sure do.
I somehow had a feeling. Please go right ahead.
No, the PCB has been doing an excellent job, and we have been dwindling in members. I think the council, we did a great job in rewriting the policies for the PCB. Was it last January? Was it this year or last year? This year? January. Yeah, this year. But some of the criteria on the for the members is pigeonholing us as finding bitch. We got to have a minister. We got to have a doctor. We have somebody from the university. Those things. I think it's stifling, the growth and what we can get accomplished, because there are members out there in the community that want to serve, but they don't fit in those categories. So I would suggest that we kind of relook at that to see if we can modify that to get more interested citizens, community members on the PCEB, because they it can stop, because I think now we need a minister. What else we need, Lexi?
Well, we have some kind of medical professional.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, and then we have a Webster University representative.
School district representative.
I kind of like that we've been like bantering back and forth, because I feel a little differently about that. Maybe it needn't be quite so strict, but for example, I think Webster University is such an important part of our community. And they really need representation because there's so many students and they don't have a voice otherwise. And so I think that our current member, who is from Webster U, really feels a commitment to speaking for the students. So maybe there's some middle ground. I also know, having had 2 medical professionals with both Katie and Scott, they really brought a perspective to our group that we would have lacked. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I hope that there's a way to, you know, encourage participation and still ensure some of those perspectives that we might not have if it was just, you know, without any kind of.
There's no problem in targeting those individuals, Webster University School District, to see if we can get participation. Yeah. But, you know, when you start having 2, 3 positions open, it'll eventually have an impact.
It's been a struggle to get a minister. I think they are already so very committed to serving their congregations that it's hard for them to find time to do another.
I can go out on the internet and get my minister's license if that'll help any.
I don't think you can be both.
I can't do both. Oh, see?
You got it.
Can I follow up on that though?
Yes,
because
please go ahead,
I think
David.
that we as a council, I remember that when we first did this, we strategically thought that it was important to get a diverse range of individuals. So I would hate for that hard work and that concept without evidence that we need to abandon it to be abandoned. I understand the struggle, but I guess my question to you, Lexi, is why do you think there is a struggle to get people to join this board? I mean, this is, I think that everyone on council, and I don't mean to speak for everyone, but we think that this is an important board, but if it needs to be changed or altered in a way that would create more interest and more positive results. That's not discounting the results that have already been made, but to garner more interest and to more input into the city, I think that this council would be open to that. But from your perspective, why do you think we are struggling to get people to join this?
I think it's the same reason that we're not getting a lot of community input, that people just aren't aware that it exists and they're not sure what it means. Like, what does it look like if I would serve on the PCEB? I was talking to a friend. I said, well, maybe we should make every member that leaves recruit somebody new. But I do think it's getting the word out that it exists and talking about what our objectives are. And that hadn't been, I mean, it was written in an ordinance, but that's in a PDF on the website. And so I think we all, as current members, need to be a little more vocal, talking to other, you know, our friends in the community about it. So
I appreciate that very much. And just to play devil's advocate, right? Because there's an alternative theory, which is that the community is just not interested in this board.
Yes.
You know, and that's something that this council needs to grapple with, is to what is the scope of this board and the purpose of it as we go forward.
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on that, David, because I think it's a good point. And one of my questions that I wrote down is, you know, you talked about the board doing some learning itself. And anytime there is a school-related incident, when school is about to start, I get a couple of parents wanting to understand what our safety procedures are. Clearly, you all have learned a lot about that. So how do we get from a board that understands that, because I know that Chief Curtis and others are willing to help explain what's happening and what the safeguards are, and not in a level of detail that everybody is happy with, but enough so that people understand that we're working hard to keep our kids safe in school. But how do we get from you all knowing that to act, because the community engagement part of that is that somehow that information has to be available in a way that residents have access to it.
Right. Actually, that's one of the topics that we learned about.
Yeah.
And it is now posted on our website. But I think our next step, now that it's available there, is that we could do social media posts that say, if you're interested in school safety and what we do to help our children stay safe while they're in school, you know, you can come here, and so we could link to that. We have a new member on the board, Jill Magruder, who is got a strong background in PR and
Oh,
communications.
good.
She's got some great ideas for ways that we can start doing more outreach. I think the listening sessions will also be something that is helpful too. Just sitting there in a public space, even if you only have one person that comes up, you might have other people like, who is that? And we'll be wearing our lanyards with our little name tags in there. So perhaps someone will notice that. So I think it takes time to build awareness. And especially, you know, with COVID, it's that really stalled things out, I think.
So are there 3 vacancies? I'm just curious what roles there are that are open or professions that are open.
Well, a business owner, clergy, resident, and let's see what we got here.
I think we have the other roles covered that where it's specified.
Right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the clergy and the business owner.
Right.
Okay.
And we do have one current applicant who will interview at our next meeting, hopefully. But that would be a resident, doesn't fit the
Correct.
other bill. Yeah. All right. Any other questions? Lexi, thank you.
Sure.
Please do pass on our thanks to the rest of the members of
I'll
your
do that.
commission for the work.
All
I know
right.
sometimes it's hard to figure out where to go next, and we appreciate you all keeping at it.
And thanks for your leadership too, Lexi. Like
Uh-huh.
that's been impactful and really good to see. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Lexi.
Thank you,
I do
Lexi.
want to give credit to, some acknowledgement to our student liaison.
Oh my goodness.
Sloan.
Yeah, I gotta put in a plug for Sloan. I'm always telling her and her mom, like, she's the most amazing young woman.
Yeah.
It's great. And she's our social media person.
Okay, there we go.
Nice.
All right. Next up, we have something I've never ever been in a picture with a big check before. I can't tell you how excited I am on this. And so we're going to participate in awarding the entrepreneurial micro grants that came from our National League of Cities. I always forget what the CIE stands for. Entrepreneurship's the E. What's the C and the I?
Oh boy.
Community innovation.
Community innovation and entrepreneurship. Thank you. And I'm going to, because Dr. Peoples was the primary author of this grant and really put this program together, do you want to just do a little recap and then we can bring our stars up and hand out things?
Absolutely. So before I get started, I want to give a big thanks to Lynn O'Brien. She really spearheaded all of the effort. So as you all know, the grant culminated in allowing, it was $15,000 that allowed us to do a webinar series. And so it was a really exciting webinar series that's still available. But the topics touch from, empowerment, which was really the title of the grant, how you get started with a business, how you find your brand, how you value and network and value your own worth. So there was a lot of different topics, but it was really fun. And so we also had the micro grant opportunity, and I don't remember the exact number, but we had several applicants for that. And those that are here this evening are the ones that were selected. We have a couple that aren't able to be here with us tonight, but we still have the big checks. So we will make sure they get their big check and perhaps another photo op opportunity. But not only was this fun, I've used this word a couple of times, but I say that because it feels good to help people and to hear, and they helped us hear what the business community needed. They're all Webster residents. And so, what can we do as a city that will help entrepreneurship? So anyway, it was a two-way street and it was just delightful. And I cannot thank these ladies enough.
I'm just going to add that I am very pleased with the range of types of businesses to which we're awarding grants. It's really amazing. And so thank you. All the staff who worked on this, especially Dr. Peoples and Lynn O'Brien. All right, so now council members, let's see. Do you have the
Big checks are right in front here.
I know, but are we putting up their little thing, or is that just for social media? Oh,
Well, that's a bummer.
Thing.
They have their names and their descriptions of what their business is. So you can find them on our website and on on our socials. So it's really neat, each of them. And I don't want to
Can
get
you
ahead
tell
of
us? Or is
council.
You know what? I'm gonna make an executive, a mayoral decision here. So if you all are game, those of you who are receiving the micro grants, could you just give us, we're gonna ask you to come to the microphone and give us just a really short explanation of what your business is and what you're going to use the money for, just so we know. And no pressure, just a couple of sentences will do, because we really do want people to understand the different kinds of businesses that will be beneficiaries of this. Is that all right with you all? Okay. All right. So, I was going to do it. Alicia's going to go first because she's great.
I don't know about that, but first off, I just want to thank you all for welcoming us in the community here and just allowing us to be a part of this amazing opportunity. It's women's empowerment and entrepreneurship?
Yep.
Okay, so that was the grant. So our company is Arsenal Research Group. It was my mom's brainchild. We are a military family, and basically we help veterans and their families get benefits. We are in the initial stages of starting up our business in and of itself. We started in 2020, right? Like right around the pandemic. And we got our website all up and running. And then I realized it just wasn't really what we needed. So that's really what the money is for, to just actually get a professional in to help us. And they're working on it now. So I just really want to thank you all for supporting us. And this is a wonderful opportunity. So really grateful. So thanks. It's the money time. Thanks. Oh man, wow, that's beautiful.
No, Dr. Peoples, you should be down there too.
All right, so who wants to be next?
Next, because I am just afraid. I didn't know there was going to be a big check. So. And a microphone. My name is JJ Lane. I own Be Lovely Photography. I actually photographed all of you guys when you, assumed your positions up here. This was a fun opportunity for me because I try to support small business owners, especially minority business owners. And with this grant, I plan on getting a new laptop and offering a branding session to a small business that possibly couldn't afford to do a photo shoot. So there you go. If you want to connect. So I photograph events for companies, small businesses, families, kids. I do a lot of artifact photography for the History Museum. And yeah, I've been a Webster Groves resident now for 8 years and transplant from Tower Grove South. So really far, but thank you guys. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh my God, this is everything.
That's fine. No, you didn't miss it. We'll get you. All right. All right.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, sorry. How do you get something important?
Yeah. I'm sure it's direct deposit somewhere. All right. We do have some boards and commission appointments to make here this evening. We had Lindsay Thomas, who is here tonight and interviewed for the Business Development Commission. John Sauter was here last time to interview as well for the same position. It's a one business owner vacancy on the BDC. So, are you BDC?
Yes.
Do you want to
Well,
speak first?
my only thought is that Lindsay Thomas her business is located in off of Pacific, north of the railroad tracks, and that might be a good opportunity to get a fresh perspective on the commission.
Right. Any other thoughts between Lindsay and John?
I did have another thought, and I know I can't speak for John, but perhaps he might be interested in doing the police community engagement board.
Oh, as a business owner?
Yeah. Yes.
Oh.
I like that idea.
We'll see what he says. All right. So does that mean that you all would like to select Lindsay Thomas then for this opening?
I'm okay with it.
I'm good with that.
Sure.
It's Pam's recommendation.
I liked her goals and everything.
David? Okay. All right. So we'll appoint Lindsay Thomas to the Business Development Commission. Gene Spur applied for the vacancy on the Historic Preservation Commission. We don't have any other applicants in the pipeline for that one.
No.
Okay. Are we good to appoint Gene?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Michael Rose has served 2 years, completing a term for a member who resigned early for the Historic Preservation Commission. Do we want to reappoint him?
Yes.
I've got a yes from the liaison. Anyone else? All right. And then in terms of updates, John Ahern has moved out of town and resigned from the Arts Commission. And then you heard from Lexi that Centron Felder has also moved. So we will have some boards and commission spots to fill. All right. Is there any further business for our work session? I can't believe it, but we have 13 whole minutes until we can start our actual regular meeting. So enjoy the 13 minutes that you're going to have right now. All right. Welcome to the regular meeting of the City Council for September 19th. We're happy to have you with us today. We welcome questions, ideas, and comments from persons in attendance. Members of the audience may, however, comment only when recognized by the mayor. And we ask that those comments be limited to 3 minutes in order to get through our agenda. I already have 2 comment cards. If you're here and you'd like to make a comment, you need to fill one out. It's on the table over there. And we will go ahead, and if you're on Zoom, by the way, you'll use the raise your hand function, and that way we'll know to call on you from there. And we will start with the roll call.
Yes, Mayor. Mayor Arnold?
Here.
Councilmember Bliss?
Here.
Councilmember Franklin?
Here.
Councilmember Smith?
Here.
Councilmember Alexander is absent. Councilmember Richardson?
Here.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd?
Here.
All right, thank you. We have 2 proclamations tonight, one for National Hispanic Heritage Month and one for Suicide Prevention Month. We're going to start with National Hispanic Heritage Month. I'm going to read the proclamation and then present it to Jose Garza, who's here. And tomorrow when it's light outside, if you'll look at our flagpole, you'll see that we are flying a flag in honor of National Hispanic Heritage Month that Mr. Garza designed.
Oh.
So, thank you for being with us today. All right. Whereas Hispanic Heritage Month is an opportunity to celebrate the culture, history, and contributions of Hispanic American citizens and highlights the countless achievements and contributions. And whereas the observation began in 1968 as Hispanic Heritage Week under President Lyndon B. Johnson, this was observed annually until 1988 when it was expanded by President Ronald Reagan to the period of September 15th through October 15th and became National Hispanic Heritage Month. And this has been celebrated annually since then. And whereas more than 60 million Americans of Hispanic origin today contribute to our national diversity, enriching the quality of American life with centuries-old traditions that reflect the multi-ethnic and multicultural customs of their communities while adding their own distinct and dynamic perspectives to the story of our country. And whereas this observance affords special opportunities to become more knowledgeable about Hispanic heritage and to honor the many Hispanic Americans who represent a significant and fast-growing demographic in Missouri and the St. Louis region. And we honor the invaluable ways they contribute to our community. Now, therefore, I, Laura Arnold, Mayor of the City of Webster Groves, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the month beginning September 15th and ending October 15th as National Hispanic Heritage Month, and urge all citizens to join us in celebrating the great contributions of Hispanic Americans to our city, state, and nation. We'll just come in the middle of this. All downstairs, and one our council. Thank you very much. Yeah, keep that and know where. All right. Have a good night. You too. All right, we will go now to our second proclamation, which is for Suicide Prevention Month. Excuse me, whereas September is known globally as Suicide Prevention Month, and the proclamation was created to raise the visibility of the mental health resources and suicide prevention services available in our community. The goal is to start the conversation about mental health and the impact of suicide to help destigmatize the conversation and help connect people with the appropriate support services. And whereas according to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention, suicide is the second leading cause of death among individuals between the ages of 10 and 34 in the United States, and each and every suicide directly impacts additional people, including family, friends, coworkers, neighbors, and community members. And whereas the City of Webster Groves publicly places its full support behind those who work in the fields of mental health, education, and law enforcement, and whereas global organizations and our local mental health organizations serve on the front lines of a war that many still refuse to discuss, as stigma regarding suicide and mental health issues is far too prevalent. And whereas the city encourages all residents to take the time to understand the importance of mental health education and recognizing that taking care of ourselves and others includes taking care of mental health. Now, therefore, I, Laura Arnold, Mayor of the City of Webster Groves, on behalf of the entire City Council, do hereby proclaim the month of September 2023 as Suicide Prevention Month in the City of Webster Groves. All right. We now have our time for remarks of visitors. I'll remind you that you have 3 minutes. And Mr. Buck, we will start with you this evening. And if when you come forward, you'll state your name and your address for the record, please.
Dave Buck, excuse me, 124 South Elm. I want to talk about suicide. I think it's kind of ironic that we have a proclamation for Suicide Awareness Month. April is actually the biggest suicide month, and it's a national tragedy. There are now, in 2022, there were 49,000 suicides nationally. It's the highest ever recorded, 1 every 11 minutes. And it hits here in Webster Groves. In 2012, a Webster Groves resident, Donna McDonald, who lives on Jefferson, worked for me at the Ralston Prina Company. Her husband's name was Chip. Chip was a bipolar manic depressive, as am I. And we had a really good relationship. He was a good friend. He kept a gun locked up in his house on Jefferson for protection. One Saturday morning, took it out, walked over to Walter Ambrose, sat in the swings, put the gun in his mouth and blew his brains out. That was in 2012. And maybe Chief Curtis remembers that. Laura, mentioned mental illness. I'm mentally ill. I'm a bipolar, manic depressive. I have been since high school, although I wasn't officially diagnosed till I was 40. Over the last 30 years, every morning I take 1,050 milligrams of lithium every morning to try to keep me even. But I think part of the solution to this problem, this national tragedy, this problem, is that we have to be each other's keepers. Meaning that in my home, my wife, Barb, is my watcher. She keeps tabs on me, and she knows when I'm ratcheting up or when I'm going down, and we can catch it early. You know, Laura, you probably know, when I start sending out a zillion emails, that's a big sign for me. We need to watch people. This is why I'm a member of the Sandy Hook Promise, which is not all about gun violence. Their strategy is they teach people and kids to read the signs of people who are in trouble so they can get them help. We have to watch out for each other, because the biggest problem with people with mental illness is that they don't seek help because they think it's a sign of weakness. And so it takes others to watch them. It takes Barb to watch me because I can't catch myself. And that's all I wanted to say. Thanks.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Dave.
for sharing, Dave.
Ashley, do you want to just take a minute? Okay. Please give your name and address here, and you have your 3 minutes then.
My name is Ashley Merriams. I live near 44 in Elm. I'm a school district neighbor and parent, which is why I'm here. I'm also a veteran with mental health issues, so I've been affected by suicide, but that is not why I'm here today. I have been stirring up the pot. Today I've called you, Mayor Arnold, last week about the construction at Hickson Middle School in Mossfield. I'm a neighbor and a parent. And before I came here this evening to speak with you, I was very well composed and had a lot to say. But my son, who's on the football team, was injured on the very construction site this evening that I'm here to speak about the safety on. He broke a tooth just about an hour ago because the school district led him onto an active construction site to move their bleachers. The construction is just a big kerfuffle. I live next to a school district. I know what I signed up for. But I have been very vocal, specifically today, specifically all week. I've left a voicemail for you, Mayor. I've talked to Maura Perry twice. I've been to the Transportation Commission twice in the last year. I've spoken to the school district. I talked to Pam Fraser today. She was at the Traffic Advisory Council meeting yesterday. I've spoke to the Director of Public Works. I have spoke to some advocacies at TrailNet, and I'm not getting any traction, and now my kid is hurt the same very day that I've been trying to get attention. So hoping I have your attention now and that we can all work towards a healthy and equitable solution for the community near Hickson and Mossfield, please. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm a little confused. Can you give me a little bit more details as to what you mean?
Come on back over. He's asked
I'm very
about.
sorry that your son got injured. I just don't know exactly what you mean by it's dangerous over there. I don't know enough.
Currently, the dangerous situation, like a synopsis of?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
The construction barrier is in the middle of the crosswalk accessing Hickson Middle School from Colebrook. That's one particular issue. Moving forward, I have the plans, but I don't have them currently. I requested them today. I'll have them printed out tomorrow. There is no crosswalk planned to cross the intersection of the middle school entrance at Colebrook, and they're planning to widen it by 1 lane of traffic. In addition to that, they're effectively doubling the length of Ambrose behind my house without any sort of city council approval. And there's a patchwork of intersections that they're planning at the outlet of Ambrose into the city parking lot at the recreational center, and the 2 lanes of traffic that they're currently planning behind my house that exits onto the street. And it's just not adequate. Does that answer your question?
Thank you very much for the yeah, it does. I appreciate that additional information. Again, I apologize that your son got injured.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.
No hands up?
Okay, we now will move on to new business. Does anyone have new business? Council members, city attorney, city manager? Okay, then let's go to unfinished business. Councilwoman Hickson Shepherd, could you call for the third reading of bill number 9233, please?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to call for the third reading of bill number 9233.
Second.
Bill 9233, third and final reading. An ordinance authorizing the levying and establishing the rate of annual property taxes to be collected for the year 2023 by the city of Webster Groves, Missouri, and repealing ordinance number 9192.
All right, you all have in front of you an amended version because the county has changed numbers on us.
No.
So I would entertain a motion to amend bill 9233.
Okay. Mayor, I'd like to move to amend bill number 9233 with the revision with today's date. Do you need me to read the date and the time?
Yes.
Today's date of September 19th, 2023, dated or time stamped for 4:35 p.m.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, let's vote on that amendment, please.
Councilmember Bliss?
Yes.
Councilmember Franklin?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson?
Yes.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd?
Yes.
Mayor Arnold?
Yes. All right, I believe now we need to vote on the bill as amended.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any discussion of the bill as amended? All right, let's have that vote then, please.
Did you read the bill?
Yeah.
He did?
He did.
I did.
I believe you. Ready to roll? Councilmember Franklin?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson?
Yes.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd?
Yes.
Mayor Arnold?
Yes.
Councilmember Bliss?
Yes.
Okay, we're going to keep the ball over here in this court for a minute since we arranged that. Councilwoman Hickson Shepherd, could we go on to bill number 9234, please?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to call for the third reading of bill number 9234.
Second.
Bill 9234, third and final reading. An ordinance authorizing the levying and establishing the rate of annual property taxes to be collected for the year 2023 for the Webster Groves Library District and repealing ordinance 9193.
All right, we have the same issue. The library has also had a change in their tax rate thanks to the county. So I will entertain an amendment for bill number 9234.
Mayor, I move to amend bill number 9234 with the staff revision dated September 19th, 2023, 4:35 p.m.
Second.
Is there any discussion of the amendment? All right, let's vote on the amendment, please.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson?
Yes.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd?
Yes.
Mayor Arnold?
Yes.
Councilmember Bliss?
Yes.
Councilmember Franklin?
Yes.
All right, any discussion of the amended bill? No, we'll have that vote then, please.
Councilmember Richardson?
Yes.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd?
Yes.
Mayor Arnold?
Yes.
Councilmember Bliss?
Yes.
Councilmember Franklin?
Yes.
Councilmember Smith?
Yes.
Okay, on to new business. First, we have the appointment of the provisional judge, Mr. Daniel J. Nolan. As council will recall, Mr. Nolan was interviewed as part of our judge search. So this is for the provisional judge slot. He has agreed to serve if we council members would like to have him do so. So I guess this requires a formal vote.
Yes, ma'am.
So I guess I would entertain a motion to select Mr. Daniel J. Nolan as the provisional judge for Webster Grove.
Yes, Mayor, I'd
Yes.
like to move that we appoint Daniel J. Nolan as provisional judge at Webster Grove.
Second.
Second.
Is there any discussion? All right, let's have that vote then.
Councilmember Richardson,
Yes.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd,
Yes.
Mayor Arnold,
Yes.
Councilmember Bliss,
Yes.
Councilmember Franklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith.
Yes.
All right. I think, let's see if I remember this right. Councilmember Bliss, will you call for the passage of resolution 2023-35?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to call for the passing of resolution number 23-35 and its subsequent adoption.
Second.
Resolution 2023-35, revising sewer lateral repair cost percentage formula related to the sewer lateral program.
All right, and the Director of Public Works, Todd Ray, is with us to talk to us a little bit about what this means.
Mayor and Council, good evening. So the sewer lateral program, give you a little quick history. April of 1999, the voters approved the $28 fee, which helps, it's added to the property tax at the end of the year. And then we collect it in January, February. And then that is used to pay for repairs to sewer laterals when they break. We have certain restrictions on things that we will cover. So they make an application, we go out, we do a camera inspection of the line, determine what needs to be dug up and fixed, give them a scope of work, give them a list of contractors to get bids from. And currently, well, in 99, we were paying 80% of the coverage. Homeowners were paying 20%. In April of 2016, the voters approved to increase that fee to $50. And so then now we were collecting $50 on the property taxes at the end of the year. The sewer lateral fund was doing fine until 2018. It went into a negative balance. So we came back to the council and recommended reducing the coverage from 80-20 to 70-30 so that we could try to catch back up. Well, we've caught up. So we currently reimburse 70% and the homeowner pays 30% we have maximums. So if it's 30, if it's in the yard, it's up to $3,500 the city will pay that 70%. So our 70% would be $3,500. If it's in the street, our 70% will be up to $8,000. So with doing that, the fund balance has increased to $412,000. So we ran some numbers and projected out another 5-10 years. And if we were to increase it back to the 80-20%, it will continue to increase for the next 6 years, and then it will start to decrease if we continue getting the same amount of approvals for repairs and the rough costs of what we've been spending over the past 5 years. So we recommend then to increase the coverage to 80-20, continue with the maximum coverages of the 3,500 in the yard, 8,000 in the street. And that would be the 80% that we would pay, 3,500 and 8,000. And then once that fund gets down to around 100,000, then we can come back to you and reevaluate the policy and see if we need to change it at that time. I don't think it's going to happen for quite a while because it has dropped off the amount of applications we've been getting and the costs that we've been spending every year. So that's why that fund balance has been increasing.
So just so I understand, the cap then would be 80% or 3,500, whichever was
right.
less.
So if the 80% is more than 3,500, we're only going to pay 3,500.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Other questions? I just want to make a note that this discussion got started because I got an email from a resident who happened to notice this increased balance. So thank you to our.
He noticed that the fund balance had increased.
So thank you to our residents who are paying close attention. Yes. So, all right, then. Thank you, Todd. Appreciate it very much. All right, let's have a vote on that resolution then, please.
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Hickson Shepherd.
Yes.
Mayor Arnold.
Yes.
Councilmember Bliss.
Yes.
Councilmember Franklin.
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson.
Yes.
All right. Is there anyone who wants to remove anything from the consent agenda? I have one question. I don't want to remove it, and I'm glad you're here, Todd, because it's about the concrete City Hall Plaza. That the bid that we're accepting, and I'm glad we're accepting the lowest bid.
Yes.
My question is, are you concerned at all about the work, because it is so much lower than the other bids that were as part of the
I
process?
am not, because when I got the original budget estimate for budget year, it was like 65,000. So,
okay.
And Sweetens did our Central Avenue sidewalk project, if you remember that project,
yeah.
5 or 6 years ago.
Okay,
And
great.
so they do good work.
Okay, good. Thank you. All right. Councilmember Smith, could you call for the approval of the consent agenda, please?
Yes, Mayor, I'd like to call for the approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
Ready to roll?
We're ready to roll.
Mayor Arnold,
Yes.
Councilmember Bliss,
Yes.
Councilmember Franklin,
Yes.
Councilmember Smith,
Yes.
Councilmember Richardson,
Yes.
Councilmember Hickson Shepherd.
Yes.
All right. We have appointed Lindsay Thomas to the Business Development Commission, Gene Spur to the Historic Preservation Commission, as well as Michael Rose is reappointed to the Historic Preservation Commission. I believe that is it for our meeting this evening, unless somebody's going to tell us I'm wrong. All right. Thank you all for being here. And that will be it for tonight.
All right.